Kentucky Derby prep races done. Post positions drawn. This is it. It's the Super Bowl of horse racing. Kentucky Derby 151. 20 horses getting in that starting gate. And this is the video you've been asking for. All the pros, all the cons, all the stats. I got you. Everything you need to know to find your winner. Facts and figures are going to give you the winning edge. I give you the stats, you make the picks. Hi, it's Maura from Trifecta and a little bit extra, and I'm about to go through all 20 contenders, so you better have your breakfast, lunch, and dinner handy. Get your past performances, get your pens and your journals, write down the notes. All this information is going to be key to you finding your winner. And I want to tell you, I'm coming from a very special place today. I'm with my friends at WinStar Farms. And if you ever want to see one of the most beautiful farms, it's right here. It's WinStar. And not only is it pretty, you get to meet some of the most amazing stallions out there. Constitution, Tiz Now, Audible, Cogburn, Two Fills. They are all here. And just to show you how beautiful and gracious the people at WinStar are, we know Tapan Street, unfortunately, is out of the Derby. During practice yesterday, he suffered a stress fracture. And thank goodness it's just a stress fracture and he's going to be okay, but he won't be in the Derby. We know equine safety, #1. But even though he's out, they still allowed me to come here to film. So thank you, WinStar. Okay, let's get ready to roll. Are you ready? 20 contenders coming at you. Starting with the dreaded post position 1, we have Citizen Bull, our 2-year-old champ. Now, although post position 1 is the dreaded 1-hole, it still has an 8.5% win rate. The last winner, though, was 1986 with Ferdinand. Now, the post position draw, super interesting. 1 through 6, except for 3 with Final Gambit, all speed. What the heck? Citizen Bull was supposed to rate. Can't rate now, has to go right up front. And that could be very challenging for him. He's trained by Bob Baffert and will be ridden by Martin Garcia. And together, they have a 26% win rate. This horse has a superb resume. 6 starts, 4 wins, 1 show. Ever since he broke his maiden in Del Mar in August, it's been all graded stakes races for this horse. And he was improving his speed all the way up to the Santa Anita Derby. He was in the G1 Del Mar Futurity, 3rd with the 70 Beyer. Then goes to the G1 American Pharoah, gate to wire, winner with an 88 Beyer. Then he goes to the Breeders' Cup Juvenile race, and there, gate to wire again with a 96 Beyer. In that mile and a 16th championship race, he just shook off his stablemate Gaming and won by over a length. Then he starts his 3-year-old campaign. Bob Baffert puts him in the Robert B. Lewis going a mile. And I just wondered, why a mile race? Did he have a little bit of a distance limitation? I mean, Bob Baffert was sending his other runners to longer races in Santa Anita and in Arkansas. But in that race, he got a 98 Beyer. He bobbled at the start. He recovered quickly and again put away his stablemates Matacat Road and Rodriguez by 3 3/4 lengths. And Rodriguez is in the Kentucky Derby. Then it's time for the Santa Anita Derby, a 1 1/8 distance. And here he's against some of his stablemates again. He gets out of the gate really well. Him and Westwood started the challenge really early, 40-1 Westwood. He settled back behind Westwood. They set blazing hot pace of 22 and change for the first quarter. He gets up, he challenges Westwood, he gets around Westwood, but then here comes Baeza, and then here comes journalism, and he finishes 4th with Beyers in the 80s. Now, the notes say he flattened, and you don't want to see that. It's his first 1 1/8 race and he flattened, and now he's going into the Kentucky Derby going 1 1/4. It appears that Bob Baffert is trying to get distance into this horse. I hardly ever see Bob Baffert working his horse at 7 furlongs, and he's been working Citizen Bull for 7 furlongs, 1 minute and 24 seconds. and 6 furlongs for 1:11, and that's pretty swift. But if you look at dosage index, center of distribution, and fractions, and if you don't know what those are tests for stamina. See my video here because I explain all that. But basically dosage, you want to score a 4 and under, center of distribution, under 1, and then the fractions, you want to finish your final 3/8 in under 38 seconds and your final 1/8 under 13 seconds. Citizen Bowl has none of that. His dosage was 9 and his center of distribution 1. Does that mean he can't do the distance? Absolutely not. It's a metric and you should understand the limitations of some of these metrics. But with everything put together, I just wonder if he does have distance limitations. He's by into mischief, and you would think being by into mischief, the distance would be no problem. We have into mischief in other Kentucky Derby runners like Sovereignty. But given everything, it's kind of like the puzzle pieces are coming together. Here's what I like about Citizen Bowl. All class. 5 graded stakes races, 2-year-old champ. Super strong speed ratings. 96, 98, 87 for his last 3. Here's what I don't like. Besides the distance, maybe he'll prove me wrong there. The fact he needs to get to the lead now. He was supposed to rate. Blinkers were coming off. But now he's going to have to go right to the lead. He's got all the speed outside of him. He's got Neoequos in number 2. He's got Rodriguez in number 4. American Promise in number 5. Admire Daytona in number 6. This horse is going to have to go. And the last time he did that in the Santa Anita Derby, he flattened. So what are we going to see with Citizen Bowl? One other point, if it rains, he has no experience on a muddy track, but into mischief, Progeny does well on wet tracks, so you may want to upgrade. The number 2 post is held by Neoequos, and this post has a 7.4% win rate, with the last winner being in 1978 with Affirmed. Now, Neoequos is trained by Joseph Safey Jr. and will be ridden by Flavien Prat, although Prat has said if Baeza draws in, he's going to be on Baeza, and I'm not sure who will be on Neoequos. With 7 starts, 2 wins, 2 places, and 2 shows, he's actually never been off the board. And yes, I know how to count. In one race, he got bumped so hard that he lost his jockey and didn't finish. He starts his 3-year-old campaign in a $54,000 allowance race, 6 furlongs on a muddy track. And there he set a hot pace and wins by 3.5 lengths. Then in the Fountain of Youth, again, very hot pace, going 1 1/16 at Gulfstream. And he was out in the lead and around the turn. River Thames nails him. He tries to fight back, but he can only secure 3rd with a buyer of 91. He then goes to the Florida Derby, 1 1/8 at Gulfstream Park, post position 1. He gets to the lead, but Madacat Road challenges him. But Tapan Street got the best of them all that day, and poor Neoequos could only finish 3rd. Now, I'm not sure this horse wants the longer distances. He's by Neolithic, and Neolithic's Progeny doesn't really do well past the 1 1/16. And also looking at dosage, center of distribution, and fractions, he doesn't meet any of the tests for stamina. And even Joseph Safey Jr. has said he believes this horse has distance limitations. His best bet is to get right to the lead, and we just talked about he's going to be surrounded by speed. So what are the pros? He has 2 graded stakes entries, and he finished 3rd among some very strong horses. If he keeps Flavien Prat, he gets one of the best riders, because Flavien Prat was your 2024 Eclipse winner. And this horse always seems to find the board. What are the cons? His speed, click below the rest. Also, he's sitting in post position 2 with speed all around him. It could set up for a very hot pace, and even his trainer thinks he has some distance limitations and has to be on or near the lead to have any shot in this race. If it rains, he has the win on a wet track, so you may want to consider that. Number 3 is Final Gambit. The third post has a 6% win rate, and the last time was last year with Mystic Dan. Now this horse is trained by Brad Cox and will be ridden by Luan Machado. And Luan Machado, first time Derby. 4 starts, 2 wins, 1 place and 1 show. Never on the dirt. Never on the dirt. But don't let that scare you, because this horse has been training beautifully at Churchill Downs. He put away his stablemate and he had an excellent gallop out, and his sire has really good stats for dirt routers. His sire is not this time. He begins his campaign at Turfway, an $80,000 mile maiden race, and there it was a field of 12. His running style was a little bit different than what we're used to seeing. He was near the lead. He just couldn't get past the leaders, and he finishes second with a 65 buyer. Then rinse and repeat, another $80,000 mile maiden race. But this time in a field of 11, he's way in the back. He makes a late charge, bam, comes in first, but still 63 buyer. Then came the Jeff Ruby Stakes, synthetic, 1 1/8 at Turfway. And there he was bumped, he was bothered, he was way in the back. He had to maneuver in and out of traffic, and bam, gets first with a buyer of 90. From a 63 buyer to a buyer of 90. If you want a horse that could be bumped, bothered, have traffic come way in the back, Final Gambit could be a very good long shot choice for you. However, just remember where he's sitting. He's sitting with speed to the inside and speed to the outside, and that's going to be really tough for this horse. So what are the pros? The trip. This horse can maneuver in and out of traffic and had big field sizes. Luan Machado, this may be his first Derby, but he really knows this horse. It doesn't look like this horse is going to have distance limitations. And if we haven't learned that horses with big late kicks coming out of Turfway, like Rich Strike, can be a bomb in the Kentucky Derby, I don't know what we've learned. What are the things I'm most worried about? The draw. He's got the speed on the inside. He's got the speed on the outside. This is going to be a tough position for him. And he went from 65 buyer, 63 buyer to 90. Can he reproduce that type of performance? And the class, he only has 1 graded stakes race, and that being the Jeff Ruby. Now, if it rains, he has no experience on wet dirt. He has no dirt experience at all. But his sire won on a wet track, so you may want to upgrade. Your number 4 horse is Rodriguez, and post position 4, 5% win rate. Last winner, this horse right here, Super Saver in 2010. Rodriguez is trained by Bob Baffert and will have Mike Smith aboard, and Mike Smith was on him in the Wood Memorial when Rodriguez got that incredible win. 5 starts, 2 wins, 2 places, 1 show, always on the board. For his 2 wins, one was in a $60,000 maiden race at Santa Anita when Baeza, who may draw into this field, came in second. The other was the Wood Memorial. What do I want you to note about both of those? Gate to wire winner in both. And Mike Smith even said it after the Wood Memorial. This horse needed clean air. And just note that because he's got speed to the inside and he's got speed to the outside. And is he going to be able to go gate to wire? Let's look at his races in depth. First, he broke his maiden second time out in a $60,000 mile maiden race. And in that race, he went gate to wire and won by a whopping 7 lengths with a 100 buyer. Who did he beat? Potential entrant Baeza. Then he goes to the Robert B. Lewis. He's against his stablemate, Citizen Bull, who's coming out of post position 1 in the Kentucky Derby, and Madacat Road, who had enough points to get into the Derby, but chose not to be in the Derby. And in that race, he was no match to Citizen Bull. He came in second with a buyer of 91. Next is the San Felipe, and guess who he meets there? The monster of Kentucky Derby 151, journalism. He also is going against stablemate Barnes. He tried to overtake Barnes in the turn, but journalism sails past both of them and he earns a 90 buyer. But then he ships out east to the Wood Memorial, a 1.125 at Aqueduct, and best race yet. He's coming out of post position 1. Masterful ride by Mike Smith. He hugs the rail the entire way, has incredible speed, that clean air worked, and he wins with a 101 buyer. He is only one of 2 horses with triple-digit buyers, the other one being journalism. The pros has to be the speed. Really strong speed and progressing. 91, 90, and 101 for his last 3 buyers. Distance shouldn't be a problem. He's by authentic. And he ticks the marks in terms of dosage and fractions. He's got Mike Smith aboard, and Mike Smith knows how to ride this horse, rode him well in the wood, and knows how to win Kentucky Derbies. And he has class. 3 graded stakes entries, and he's been competing against some of the best of the best. The cons, he was bested by both journalism and Citizen Bull in some of those races. And I know I sound like a broken record, but the fact he's with all of these speed horses in post positions 1 through 6, excluding Final Gambit, they can all link up and set a super hot pace. And if he needs the lead, like Mike Smith said, is he gonna get the lead? Now, if it rains, you have to downgrade him. Unfortunately, Authentic's progeny, they really don't do well on a wet surface. Number 5 is American Promise. Post position 5 has an extremely high win rate of 10.6%, and last winner was Always Dreaming in 2017. American Promise is trained by Hall of Famer Dwayne Lucas and will be ridden by Nick Juarez. He's a $750,000 purchase by Justify and a half to graded stakes winner Hoosier Philly. American Promise is a very experienced horse. 9 starts, 2 wins, 1 place, and 1 show. His very first win was 1.16 at Oaklawn Park on a muddy track. And there he went gate to wire and secured the win and a 95 buyer. Then he goes to the G3 Southwest. Horrible start. This horse needs to be on or near the lead. And so he was gonna go for it even after that slow start. And he expended up all of his energy and really started to tire and was finishing 6th, but caused some interference and placed 7th with buyers in the 80s. Then he goes to the Risen Star, and that's where he's competing 1.125 for the first time. Now, he's one of very few horses that have gone 1.125 or longer in the Kentucky Derby field more than 1 time. And in that race again, he really needed to be on or near the lead, and he didn't start out very strong. He moved up to 3rd, but tired and finished 5th with an 88 buyer. Then he has his breakthrough race, the Virginia Derby, a 1.125 distance, and there he sets a track record, wins by 7 lengths with a 95 buyer. Now, Dwayne Lucas, he knows how to condition horses for these really big races, and he's been showing some flashy speed in his workouts, going 5 furlongs for 59 and change. He even went 7 furlongs, but it was a little bit stiff. But his last workout, another 5 furlongs for 59 and change. So this horse is coming into the Kentucky Derby in tip-top shape. The other thing I want you to know is this horse is a May baby. It takes time for May babies to mature, and he may just be getting good at the right time. So what do I like about this horse? He's got the foundation. He's gone the longer distances twice. He set a track record in the Virginia Derby. His speed is progressing. 82, 88, 95. He has class, 3 Derby prep races. He could get the distance. He's by Justify. And he's been competing in big fields. And his workouts, tip-top shape. I also really like that he has Churchill Downs experience. I really like to upgrade horses that I know can get around this track. What are his cons? Well, again, it's that speed thing. He's got all this speed to the inside, and he needs to be on or near the lead to have a fighting chance. Also, when he's been against Burnham Square and Sandman and Tiztastic, he didn't win against them. If it does rain, upgrade him. He had that win, gate to wire, mile and a 16th at Oaklawn on a wet track, and he also has wet track experience here at Churchill Downs. Number 6 is a Japanese contender, Admire Daytona. The 6th position actually has a worse win rate than post position 1 with only 2%. And the last winner was 1993 with Sea Hero. He's trained by Yukihiro Kato and will be ridden by Christophe Lemaire. 6 starts, 2 wins, and 2 places. Now, he's competed against the other Japanese contender here in the Kentucky Derby, the number 7 horse, Luxor Cafe, and was bested by that horse twice. Both times he did have the win, however, Christophe Lemaire was aboard, and the last time was how he got into the Kentucky Derby, the UAE Derby. He won that race front-running style, and he won it by a nose. Now, we don't really know his speed ratings. Timeform gives us some estimate, and he is a click below the rest. Can he get the distance? Well, I'm not really sure. His sire only competed 5 to 7 furlongs, and he has some progeny that runs the longer distances, but have been on the turf. Now, if you're watching the workouts, you see the Japanese runners, they train very differently than the American runners. But the representative says he's been taking well to the Churchill Downs track and has been doing everything that they expected. The number 7 horse is Luxor Cafe. This is your other Japanese contender, and this is the one that I'm watching more closely than the number 6 horse. The number 7 position has a 9% win rate. 9%. Last time was Mandaloon in 2021, although that was through the disqualification of Medina Spirit. He's trained by Noriyuki Hori and will be ridden by Joe Morira. 6 starts, 4 wins, 1 place. He has won the last 4 races in a row, and 3 of them have been stakes races. He's by Triple Crown winner, American Pharaoh, and his superpower, extreme turn of foot. He was in a mile maiden race against the number 6 horse, Admire Daytona, on a good surface, so take note of that, and he wins that race. Then he goes into a mile and an 1/8 race. Again, good surface. Take note of that if it rains, and he wins by 5 lengths. He goes to the Hyacinth Stakes and meets up with Admire Daytona, and there he wins that race. Then goes to the mile and an 1/8 Fukuryu Stakes, and there again, extreme turn of foot, wins by 5 lengths. And again, that was a good track. Can he maneuver through traffic? Oh yeah, have you seen those field sizes in Japan? And his running style? Stalking, very patient. That may serve him well in Kentucky Derby 150 run. And Moria has said he didn't really use him up the last time. This horse has a lot more left in his tank. If we look at who has he been beating, well, he beat Admire Daytona, and Admire Daytona did go on to win the UAE. Now, Japan hasn't won a Kentucky Derby yet. They came very close with Forever Young last year, and this horse may be better than Forever Young. If you're finding this information useful, hit like, hit subscribe. Don't miss out on my coverage. The number 8 horse is the monster of Kentucky Derby 151, and that is your morning line favorite, Journalism. Post position 8, very high win rate at 10%, and last winner was 2023 with Mage. Now, he is trained by Michael McCarthy and will be ridden by Umberto Rispoli, and together they have a 30% win rate. This horse, incredible resume, incredible pedigree. He's an $825,000 purchase by Curlin. Curlin came in 3rd in the Kentucky Derby. He won the Preakness and 2nd in the Belmont. This horse, 5 starts, 4 wins and 1 show. And his last 3 races, all Derby prep races, graded stakes races, and Umberto Rispoli was on him for all of those races. And if you watch this horse and Umberto Rispoli, they know each other. The horse responds right on cue with Umberto Rispoli's commands. I mean, they are in sync with one another. His last 2 races, he earns a Beyer above 100, and he's only one of 2 horses that have Beyers above 100, the other one being Rodriguez. Now, prior to the Santa Anita Derby, he was in the San Felipe and the Los Alamitos Futurity. In the San Felipe, he went against Bob Baffert's Barnes. Now, him and Barnes, they started off really well. Barnes got ahead. Barnes was actually ahead by 3, but journalism was patient, and when it was time, bam, he just went sailing past Barnes and got 108 Beyers. Then he goes to the Santa Anita Derby, 1.1 miles distance. And here, Citizen Bull and Westwood, they got out of the gate early, and they set some blazing hot fractions. And somehow, in a field of 5, journalism ran into traffic. I mean, he got shuffled to the back, he kind of bumped Barnes, but he rallies and he takes it to Baeza in the stretch, and he wins by 3/4 lengths outside of what his odds are going to be. There's a lot to like about this horse. I mean, he's got the speed, the 108 Beyer, the 102 Beyer. Some say maybe he's topped out. I'm not so sure. I mean, we'll have to wait to see on Saturday. He's also got the distance. He's going to have the stamina. He's by Curlin. He's been competing in some very classy races, and he has bested Citizen Bull, Rodriguez, and Baeza if Baeza draws in. Also, he has the perfect stalking, big leg kick type that you really like to see in the Derby. I mean, the horses with tactical speed tend to win the Derby, and he's going to get a longer stretch here at Churchill Downs than he's been getting at Santa Anita. And with all of the speed drawn inside of him, except for maybe East Avenue, it looks like he won the post position draw. The one thing I don't like, I really don't like, is he's only been going against 5-horse fields. Now, he did find traffic in the Santa Anita Derby. How do you do that in a 5-horse field? He did, and he got himself out, but that's one thing that I would be very cautious about. If it rains, he's by Curlin. Curlin has ups and some downs in progeny with rain. He has Vino Rosso, who was his top progeny and extremely fantastic horse, but on a wet track in Vino Rosso's Kentucky Derby, he only finished 9th. But Idiomatic, another top progeny of Curlin, won at the longer distances in the rain. The number 9 horse is Burnham Square. Now, post position 9, very low win rate, 4%. Last time there was a winner, 1972 with Riva Ridge. Burnham Square is trained by Ian Wilkes and will be ridden by our winner of the 2024 Kentucky Derby jockey, Brian Hernandez Jr. Now, Burnham Square, except for the Fountain of Youth, always on the board. He has 6 starts, 3 wins, 1 place, and 1 chef. From a stamina test, if you believe in dosage, you will be writing off Burnham Square, but I say do so at your own risk. His dosage is a 7, way above the 4, but from a fractions test, he's borderline, and the fractions being, can you finish the final 3/8 in 38 seconds or less, and the final 8ths in 13 seconds or less. His sire is Liam's Map, and Liam's Map did win at the 1.1 distance in the Whitney and the Woodward. His last race, the Bluegrass, best race yet, 1.8 at Keeneland, and in that race, he was off a bit slow. He got bumped. He went 5 wide and still went dead last to first with his best Beyer yet, 96, nose over East Avenue. Prior to that, he was in the Fountain of Youth and the Holy Bull at Gulfstream. In the Holy Bull, he was coming out of post position 7. He quickly gets to the rail to save ground. Then he took aim at Tapan Street. Pan Street was $1 million in the Mischief Colt and went on to win the Florida Derby. And in that race, he goes around to Pan Street, boom, gets the win and earns a 90 buyer. Ian Wilkes says the difference between that race and his earlier races, blinkers on. Then he goes to the Fountain of Youth. Now, not many horses try the double, the Holy Bull, and the Fountain of Youth. In fact, I went back to 1991 and only 3 horses that tried it actually won. And Burnham Square was not one. He was the favorite that day, going 1 mile and 1/16 at Gulfstream, and unfortunately came in 4th. But then came the Bluegrass and that 96 buyer and win. Now, personally, I think Burnham Square is very dangerous in the Kentucky Derby. He has a strong late kick that can rival Journalism, Sandman, Sovereignty, and the longer stretch at Churchill Downs is only going to benefit him. Longer than Keeneland and longer than Gulfstream. He knows how to maneuver in and out of traffic. Watch the Bluegrass. He's got progressing buyers, 90, 91, 96. He may be peaking right at the best time. And if you watch his workouts, dang, he is fired up. He's ready to go. And he's got a jockey who knows how to win the Kentucky Derby. He did so last year. And he's got Churchill Downs experience. The only question is going to be the distance, if you believe the dosage index. Now, if it rains, upgrade him. Liam's map does very well with Progeny on the wet track. The number 10 horse is Grande, and post position 10, very high win rate, 10%. Last winner was 2005 with Giacomo. Now, this horse is trained by Todd Pletcher. He'll be ridden by Johnny Velasquez. In 2017, these two teamed up and won the Kentucky Derby with Always Dreaming. This horse has a ton of upside. Only 3 starts. 3 starts. Now that puts into question his foundation, but lots of upside. 2 wins, 1 place. Both of his wins came at Gulfstream. First, he won a $94,000 mile maiden race. There he wins by 2 and earns an 83 buyer. Then goes to a 1 1/8 race, a very long distance race. And in that race, he had to battle it out with Jimmy's Dailies and again wins by 2 and gets an 87 buyer. But Jimmy's Dailies and the other horse he beat in decisiveness, they went on to the Florida Derby and didn't fare well. So what was the strength of that race? His true test comes in the Wood Memorial, a 1 1/8 race at Aqueduct. He's one of very few that has been tested at the longer distances more than once. And in that race, he got bumped coming out of the gate. He had to go 4 to 5 wide around the first turn. He had to go wide again. And he finishes second to Rodriguez, 3.5 lengths behind. But Rodriguez, remember, he was up close to the rail for most of the race because he went gate to wire. Grande had to go wide and only finished 3.5 lengths behind him. The pros for this horse, he has the stamina. He can most likely get the distance. He's by Curlin. And if you look at the fractions test, did he finish the last 3/8 in 38 seconds and under? Did he finish the last 8 in 13 seconds or under? In both of his 1 1/8 races, he passed that test with flying colors. And his speed is progressing. 83 buyer, 87 buyer, 97 buyer in the Wood. This is a horse you're going to want to pay attention to. You also get Todd Pletcher and Johnny Velasquez, who have been a winning team in the Kentucky Derby. The cons, does he have the foundation? Only 1 graded stakes race, and that was the Wood. Who has he been competing against? His best competitor has been Rodriguez. The other races have not been the caliber of class that he's going to see here in the Kentucky Derby. And if it rains, he's got no experience in the rain, but again, he's by Curlin, and Curlin has pros and cons for Progeny in the rain. Curlin has Vino Rosso, who finished 9th in the Kentucky Derby on a wet track, but Idiomatic, who had won in the rain at the longer distances. The number 11 horse has the best name yet, and that is Flying Mohawk. Post position 11, one of the worst win rates, 2%. The last time we saw a winner, 1988, with winning colors. Now, this horse is trained by Whit Bettman. Whit Bettman was in the Kentucky Derby last year with Anna Marie. Be ridden by Joseph Ramos, and this is his very first Kentucky Derby. 6 starts, 2 wins, 2 places. Before the Jeff Ruby Stakes, all of his starts had been on the turf. Going into the Jeff Ruby, he had back-to-back wins for 1 1/16 on the turf, 79 Beyer, 82 Beyer. Then he goes to the Jeff Ruby Stakes. And there, that race was very closing friendly. I mean, look at who won. Final Gambit. Who came in second? Flying Mohawk. He earned an 84 Beyer for finishing second in that race. The pros for this horse is his versatility. He's done well on or near the lead, and he's done well coming from behind. And he's been in big field sizes and knows how to maneuver traffic. The cons have to be the speed. Now, I know his speeds are progressing, but they are a click below the rest. And I really feel he got the perfect setup in that last race. I know others will say it's the fact he's never been on the dirt. That's not a real deal breaker to me. To me, the deal breaker is going to be the speed. And if it rains, well, he hasn't ever been on dirt, much less wet dirt. And Caracante, his sire, has average stats for wet dirt runners. The number 12 horse is East Avenue. And the 12th position, really low win rate, 4%. Last time we had a winner, 1971. East Avenue is trained by Brendan Walsh and will be ridden by Manny Franco. Manny Franco wasn't in last year's Derby, but was in 2023 with Hit Show, who came in 5th. 5 starts, 2 wins, 1 place. His 2-year-old season, before the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, he was pure domination. At Ellis Park, he wins his maiden race, going gate to wire, and wins by 8 lengths. Then he goes to the Claiborne Breeders' Futurity. Again, gate to wire, wins the 1 1/16 race by 5 lengths. Go to the Breeders' Cup Juvenile race, the championship race for 2-year-olds. And he was the 9-5 favorite that day. He stumbled coming out of the gate. It was awful. And he needs to be on or near the lead, and he finishes 9th. Then he goes to the fairgrounds for the Risen Star. We're all waiting for him to start his 3-year-old season. I mean, we have written off the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. We just struck a pen right through that race. But in the Risen Star, it looked promising. He got up to 2nd, but then he fades back to 10th. Ouch! Then he comes back to Keeneland for the Bluegrass, 1 1/8. Now, I had written him off. My exact words were, East Avenue hit a dead end. He proved me wrong. He got out of the gate well. He gets right to the lead. He opens up by 3. This is where he's comfortable. He's setting blazing hot fractions, 22 and change, 46 and change. It looks like he's going to win, but Burnham Square comes up and gets him by a nose. That effort in the Bluegrass puts him back in mid-90s Beyers, just like Claiborne Breeders' Futurity. Smack dab in between for the Breeders' Cup Juvenile and the Risen Star, it was Beyers in the 70s. Am I getting back on East Avenue? Possibly. There's some pros here that I really like. First, I think he likes Kentucky. You may say, oh no, Maura, he only really likes Keeneland. He's a horse for course. If you're watching workouts, he's taking to the Churchill Downs track beautifully. Also, I think he won that post position draw. The rest of the speed is on the inside. He's the lone speed on the outside. I think this is going to set up really nicely for him. And in the Bluegrass, he got blinkers, and blinkers are staying on. The cons have to be the lack of consistency. And I'm a little bit worried about the stamina. He didn't really pass the fractions test. Now, the Bluegrass was a slower race for 1 1/8, and maybe the reason, but it's one thing that worries me. And if it rains, you really do want to upgrade him. His sire won the Travers on a wet surface. The number 13 horse is Publisher. 6 to 7% win rate coming out of post position 13. And the last time was in 2016 with Nyquist. Now, Publisher is always the bridesmaid and never the bride. He's a maiden. Can maidens win the Kentucky Derby? 3 maidens have won the Kentucky Derby. And why can't Publisher for Kentucky Derby 151? He's by American Pharoah. Why not the son of American Pharoah? He's trained by Steve Asmussen. He's a leading trainer at Churchill Downs who has never won the Kentucky Derby. Why not Steve Asmussen? And he's got Irad Ortiz aboard, who is a leading rider who has never won the Kentucky Derby. So why not Irad? His best race was the Arkansas Derby where he finished second, but let's look at his races prior to that. In a maiden race, $110,000 maiden race on a muddy track at Oaklawn, he came in second behind American Promise. American Promise went on to be number 1 in the Virginia Derby with a new track record, so none too shabby competition there. And speaking of none too shabby competition, he then goes into the G3 Southwest. And that was one of the best Kentucky Derby prep races we saw. He was against Sandman, who went on to win the Arkansas Derby. He then was also against Tiztastic, who went on to win the Louisiana Derby. In that race, he was smushed into the rail by American Promise and put up to be number 6 after American Promise was disqualified. Then he goes into another strong prep race, the Rebel, a mile and a 16th at Oaklawn. And in that race, he was way in the back, like 10th or 11th in a field of 13. He manages to rally and comes in 4th. Then he goes to the Arkansas Derby, and there he gets his blinkers and has one of his best finishes yet. That race set up nicely for him. The first 2 runners, Cornucopian and Speed King, they went after each other and they set blistering hot fractions. And Publisher came from behind, got second with a 95 buyer. The questions are going to be the fact, 1, well, he's a maiden, and 2, can he get the distance? I mean, he's by American Pharoah. You would think he could get the distance, but he is borderline on the fractions theory. But I do want to point this out. Go watch his workouts with his stablemate, Tiztastic. He's been going 59 and change. I mean, he got in front of Tiztastic and the exercise rider kept looking back like, where are you at? Aren't you supposed to be right next to me? I mean, this horse bested Tiztastic. Now, I heard that that's typical for the pair, but 59 and change, 5 furlongs in Churchill, looks like he likes Churchill. And speaking of Tiztastic, his stablemate, is in post position 14. Now, this post position, very low win rate at 4%. Last winner, 1961 with Kerry Black. He's trained by Steve Asmussen and will be ridden by Joel Rosario. And this horse has been super consistent. 8 starts, 3 wins, 1 place, 2 shows. First, I want to point out this is your winner of the Louisiana Derby. And why is that important? Here in the US, that is the longest Kentucky Derby prep race at 1 mile and 3/16. This horse is battle tested in graded stakes races. In fact, 2 early in his career, right here at Churchill Downs. He was in the G3 Street Sense, came in second. He was in the Kentucky Jockey Club, came in third. Churchill Downs experience. Then he goes to some of the strongest prep races we've seen, the Southwest and the Rebel, both at Oaklawn. In the Southwest, he looked out of it at the top of the lane, but he kept on coming with an 89 buyer. Goes into the Rebel, 1 mile and a 16th. He had to go wide. He tried to get to the rail to save ground, but he finishes 5th with an 81 buyer. Then he goes to the Louisiana Derby, his best race yet, and that was a masterful ride. Now, it was blazing hot fractions, 22 and change for the first quarter, just under 47 and change. Joel puts Tiztastic on the rail, patient, saves ground, makes a move, boom, wins by over 2 lengths. Now, the stretch may have helped him. The stretch at the Louisiana Derby was longer than what he was getting at Oaklawn. What do I like about Tiztastic? He is all class. 5 graded stakes entries, 2 here at Churchill Downs. Also, big fields, knows how to maneuver through traffic, strong late kick, and that last Beyer of 95 puts him right in the mix. His rider, Joel Rosario, won the Kentucky Derby in 2013 on Orb. Now, one thing I want to caution about, I heard on the Morning Workouts show, Steve Asmussen did bring him to the fairgrounds. The longer stretch was something he knew that he was going to like. And the stretch here at Churchill, it's longer than Oaklawn, but shorter than the fairgrounds. If it rains, you may want to upgrade him. Tiz the Law came in third on a wet track, and his progeny does well on a wet track. Okay, y'all still with me? We still have 6 horses to go, and you could see how long it's taken me to do this. It's already dark outside. If the information has been useful, hit like, hit subscribe. Doesn't end with the Derby. I'm going to be doing Preakness, Belmont, and Saratoga, so sign up and subscribe. The number 15 horses render judgment, and this post position, high win rate, 9 to 10%. Last time was 2020 with Authentic. He's trained by Kenny McPeak, and he won the Kentucky Derby last year and will be ridden by Julien Leparoux. 7 starts, 1 win, 2 places, and 1 show. It looks like Kenny McPeak really wanted Render Judgment to be in the Derby. 5 Kentucky Derby prep races. His best one, 2 back in the Virginia Derby, where he finished 2nd. Now, he began his trail to the Kentucky Derby in the G2 Kentucky Jockey Club here at Churchill Downs. He finished 5th, 8 lengths behind. Then he goes to the Gun Runner. He stumbles poorly at the beginning, finishes 9 lengths behind, built and magnitude, and comes in 3rd. Then he goes to the Risen Star, a 1 1/8 distance, also at the fairgrounds. And there, not a great race for him. He finishes 8th, but Kenny McPeak said, throw that race out. The winners that did well hugged the rail, and the outside was like quicksand. And maybe he was right, because he goes to the Virginia Derby, another 1 1/8 distance. He's one of very few horses in Kentucky Derby 151 to run the 1 1/8 or longer more than once. And in that race, breakthrough race, he comes in 2nd. He did get blinkers in that race, and that may have made the difference. He finished with a Beyer of 83. Then he goes to the Bluegrass, another 1 1/8 race. And there, no factor, finishes 5th. Earns a 90 Beyer, his best Beyer, but no factor, finishes 5th. So here are my pros and cons. He has the foundation, 5 Kentucky Derby prep races, but the best he could do was 2nd. Also, he has Blame as a sire, stamina-rich breeding, but from a fractions test, he didn't really pass it. Then, looking at his speed, he's got progressing Beyers, but the best is 90. And his jockey, Julien Leparoux, winless for 14 derbies. The number 16 horse is a horse I'm going to be rooting for, and that is Coal Battle. Now, 16 post position, 7 to 8% win rate, last time 2011 with Animal Kingdom. I apologize if you've heard this before, but I'm going to repeat myself. Coal Battle is my hold my beer horse. Can't win a Derby prep race? Hold my beer. Can't win on the lead? Hold my beer. Can't win against Bob Baffert in Arkansas? Hold my beer. And here's the one I'm waiting for. Can't win the Kentucky Derby? Hold my beer. This is a horse that wins despite all the odds. Every time you think he can't do well, he does well. And this is a story that you really have to love. His trainer is 72 years young. Lonnie Briley never thought he would have a horse in the Kentucky Derby, and here he is. And that's the reason I'm going to be rooting for Lonnie Briley and Coal Battle in Kentucky Derby 151. In the Remington Springboard Mile, he came out of post position 1. He was very patient behind Speed King, and when it was time, he made the move, boom, nails him with an 84 Beyer. Then in the Smarty Jones, he just takes the lead. The trainer was like, what are you doing? But the jockey was like, nobody else wanted the lead. I'm going to the lead. And he wins that race in another 84 Beyer. Then came the Rebel, one of the strongest Kentucky Derby prep races we saw. Madacat Road, Speed King, Smokin' Wicked. They set a Smokin' Wicked pace. But Cole Battle said, hold my beer. He nails them, winning by a length and a quarter, 91 buyer. Then came the Arkansas Derby, a mile and an eighth at Oaklawn. And here, Cornucopian and Speed King, they got into a suicidal pace. 22 and change, 45 and change. Cole Battle, he wanted to be up there. He was staying third behind the two. And when it came time, he tried to get around them and got into a duel with Sandman, who just came out of nowhere. And he just couldn't hold it. And can you blame him? With that kind of pace, he finishes third with an 88 buyer. So what do I like about Cole Battle besides the story? First, this horse has heart, and you gotta love a horse that has heart and who really loves to compete. And he's versatile. One from the lead, one being tactical. He's been in big field sizes and knows how to get through traffic. And Juan Vargas, he knows this horse. What's questionable? He's going to have to increase his speed. He's going to have to take a big progression to be competitive. And he's got to be tactical. He can't try to run with those pace setters and not be able to get the mile and a quarter distance. If it rains, upgrade him. He won in the rain. The number 17 horse is Sandman. And if there's any post that's more dreaded than post number 1, it's 17. Zero in 150 years, 0% win rate. Now, Sandman is trained by Mark Cassidy and will be ridden by Jose Ortiz, and together they have a 21% win rate. Now, I have said this in every single video. Don't sleep on Sandman. He could be the one that breaks the curse of post 17. 8 starts, 3 wins, 1 place, 2 shows. This horse is a $1.2 million purchase by Tapit, and Tapit horses can get the distance. They just need time to mature. And he showed in the Arkansas Derby, you give him more distance and he just eats it up. He won by 2.5 lengths. His superpower, late kick, but he's also really classy. 5 graded stakes entries. He started here at Churchill Downs. He's got Churchill Downs experience. He was in the Iroquois where he came in 5th, and the G3 Street Sense. He came in 3rd behind Sovereignty and Tiztastic. Then he shipped out to Oaklawn. At Oaklawn, he was in 2 of the best prep races we saw in the G3 Southwest, and this is the one I want you to go back and look. He stumbled so poorly at the start. He starts way in the back, and somehow he manages to rally and finishes 2nd. Then he goes to the Rebel, and here he has a better break, and again, big late kick and finishes 3rd behind Cole Battle and Madacat Road. He has serious heart, serious tenacity. In the Southwest, he earned a 92 buyer, and in the Rebel, an 89 buyer. Then he goes to the longest distance, and distance is his friend. 1 mile and an eighth in the Arkansas Derby. Now in that race, Cornucopian Speed King, blazing hot fractions, and it's set up really nicely for Sandman. When he turned on the engines and he got in front, he kind of threw his head around and was like, wait, am I in the front? And he won by 2.5 lengths, 99 buyer. Don't sleep on Sandman. What are the pros? Very solid foundation. 5 graded stakes races, including 2 of the best prep races, the Southwest and the Rebel, and 2 here at Churchill Downs. He has Churchill Downs experience. We know distance is his friend. He's got very strong buyers, the last one being a 99, and his superpower is that late kick. He's going to have pace to run into. If the race sets up, we all think the way it's going to go with all the speed to the inside, and he's going to have to battle it out at the end for late pace with Sovereignty and Journalism and Burnham Square. But this is a very talented horse, and he may be coming into his own at the right time. And can he handle the traffic? Oh yeah, go back and watch to the southwest. This horse can handle traffic. If it rains, he has no experience on a wet track. Tappet didn't do well on a wet track, but his top progeny, Essential Quality, did. The number 18 horse is Sovereignty, and he may have been born to rule. Kentucky Derby 151. The number 18 post has a 6% win rate. Last time was Country House in 2019, although that was through a disqualification of Maximum Security. He's trained by Bill Mott and will be ridden by Junior Alvarado. 5 starts, 2 wins, 2 places. Let's just start with his breeding. He's by Into Mischief, who is the sire of Kentucky Derby winners Mandaloon and Authentic. His dam is Crowned. Crown's sire was Bernardini, who is a top router, and her dam was Mushka, who won the Demoiselle at 1 1/8 miles. So this horse was bred to be great in the Kentucky Derby. And he announced himself in a big way. Where? Here at Churchill Downs. In the G3 Street Sense going 1 16 miles, he just romped and won by 5 lengths, earning an 87 buyer. And who did he beat? Sandman, the winner of the Arkansas Derby, and Tiztastic, the winner of the Louisiana Derby. Then he backs it up in the Fountain of Youth. Now that late kick looked phenomenal at Churchill Downs, but nobody thought, not even Bill Mott, thought it was going to do well at Gulfstream with that very short stretch. But Sovereignty said, oh, no, I got this. And in that race, he was very patiently ridden. I mean, River Thames was out front. It looked like River Thames was dancing all the way to the winner's circle, and Sovereignty, bam, nails him at the end and gets the win with a 95 buyer. Then he goes to the Florida Derby, 1 1/8 miles, also at Gulfstream with that short stretch. Now we know the stretch isn't going to be a problem, but he's got another problem to overcome. He's in post position 10, all the way to the outside. He tries to make his signature move, just can't get to Tapan Street, and finishes second with a 92 buyer. So what do I really like about Sovereignty? It's gotta be that strong late kick. Now I know journalism has it, Sandman has it, Burnham Square has it, but you gotta consider Sovereignty, and he's getting back to that longer stretch that he really loves, the stretch he romped at in the G3 Street Sense. And his speed ratings, they're getting better. He's poised to make a really big move. He's got 3 graded stakes entries. He's got wins over Sandman and Tiztastic, who won their last prep races. There's not much that I don't like about this horse. And then you combine that with his pedigree. He was born for a distance like this. I mean, this is a horse that I'm really considering for Kentucky Derby 151. What happens if it rains? Well, he has no direct experience in the rain, but his sire Into Mischief has good stats with his progeny on a wet track. The number 19 horse is Chunk of Gold, and post position 19, low win rate, 3%. Last time was 2012 with I'll Have Another. And here's a little fun fact for you. That was the first trifecta I ever won in the Kentucky Derby. I mean, I'll Have Another was my pick. And I remember my pop saying, how did you have that horse? Well, sometimes I'm able to pick them. So, Chunk of Gold, he's trained by Ethan West. And this is Ethan West's first Derby horse. And he'll be ridden by Jared Loveberry. And Jared Loveberry rode 2 fills to come in second place behind Mage in 2023. 4 starts, 1 win, 3 places. That means this horse has never been out of the exacta. His superpower, like Sandman, is his late speed. His early starts, all at Turfway on the synthetic. And then he goes to Louisiana to the Risen Star. In the Risen Star, nothing but trouble. Field of 12. He got brushed at the start. He's off the pace. He gets checked. He gets shuffled. And somehow this 43-1 long shot comes in second. Now, nobody was beating Magnitude that day, but man, Chunk of Gold surprised us all, and earned a 92 buyer. He backed that 92 buyer up in the Louisiana Derby, going 1 mile and 3/16. And remember, that was our longest prep race. And in that race, he tried to go after Tiztastic, but he can only finish second, but earned another 92 buyer. What do I like about Chunk of Gold? Well, 1, he's always in the exacta. 2, he's been in big fields, knows how to maneuver through traffic. I mean, go back and watch the Risen Star. Lots of trouble, still finishes second. 3rd, he's got a solid foundation at these longer distances. The Risen Star, 1 mile and 1/8. The Louisiana Derby, 1 mile and 3/16. He's got consistent 92 buyers, and he's got a late kick, but he is not a deep closer. So if you want a long shot with a really late kick, this could be the horse for you. In post position 20 is Owen Almighty. And now post position 20, believe it or not, has the highest win rate at 11%. But let's put that into perspective. Only 18 horses have started in post position 20. And the last winner was Rich Strike, who broke my heart because I thought I was winning the pick 5 that year and never saw Rich Strike coming. Owen Almighty is trained by Brian Lynch and will be ridden by Javier Castellano. And Javier Castellano was your jockey on Mage. 7 starts, 3 wins, 2 places. Now, when Owen Almighty started his career, he just burst on the scene. He dominated both of his initial 2 races, winning by 3 to 4 lengths. Then he gets on the Kentucky Derby Trail. He comes here to the G3 Iroquois, and there he finished second behind Jonathan's Way. He wasn't as forwardly placed as he likes to be, but he was gaining on Jonathan's Way. Then came his 3-year-old debut, the Pasco Stakes, 7 furlongs at Tampa Bay, and there, blazing hot fractions. He dominated. He wins until he doesn't. He was placed 5th for interference, but performance-wise, he crossed the finish line first. Then in the Sam F. Davis, also at Tampa Bay, he's trying 1 mile and 1/16 for the first time. And he gets blinkers for the first time. Now him and John Hancock, they just dueled. They set blistering fractions around that track. And Owen Almighty couldn't hang on and finishes second. Then comes the Tampa Bay Derby, 1 mile and 1/16. And here he goes gate to wire, keeping those blinkers, and wins with the 93 buyer. But what I found interesting, he really controlled the speed that day. He kind of slowed it down mid-pack and then sped up at the end and gets the win. Goes to the Bluegrass, 1 mile and 1/8 at Keeneland. And there, he couldn't get to the lead like he liked to. He got bobbled, he got brushed, bumped, and then had to stalk East Avenue. And the big difference was that East Avenue was setting these blazing hot fractions, whereas in the Tampa Bay Derby, he was controlling the speed. And in the end, he finishes 6th. Now, there's going to be a lot of pace in Kentucky Derby 151, and Brian Lynch has said he wants no part of it. In fact, he didn't even want Owen Almighty to run this race. He thought he would best be suited to the Pat Day Mile, but hey, you can't blame the owners for having Kentucky Derby dreams. So the big question for this horse is going to be the stamina. If it rains, no direct experience, but his sire, Spatestown, does have above average stats for progeny on a wet track. We're going to go through one more horse because, hey, he actually may draw in. And this is the Buzz horse, Baeza, trained by John Sheriffs. He'll be ridden by Flavian Pratt if he gets in. Flavian Pratt will get off Neoequos. Baeza is a $1.2 million purchase by Mackenzie, but that's not the big story. The big story is his dam, Puka. Puka was the dam of 2023 Kentucky Derby winner Mage and 2024 Belmont winner Dornick. Now this horse has 4 starts, 1 win, and 2 places. Now he's a May baby, and what that means is he is still maturing. He burst onto the Kentucky Derby scene in the Santa Anita Derby going 1 1/8 miles. And in that race, he took it to Citizen Bull. And when he put Citizen Bull away, he then had to battle journalism going down the stretch. I mean, these two were really going at it. And he only lost by 3/4 of a length to journalism, and he earned 101 buyer, and he's one of the few with the triple-digit buyers, that being journalism and Rodriguez. He had the perfect pressing trip. Prior to that was actually a $60,000 main race where he won by 4 lengths. Baeza has a specific running style. He's very patient, and then when it's time, boom, he challenges the leader. But who has he been running against? Well, we know he got bested by journalism, but he bested Citizen Bull, and he came in second behind Rodriguez in an earlier race. So what do I like about Baeza? Well, 1, he challenged journalism in that stretch. 2, he's got progressing speed. You like to see that. 87, 93, 101. If he gets Pratt, he gets one of the best riders. Pratt won the Eclipse Award in 2024. And this horse has the perfect stalking running style that you like to see in the Kentucky Derby. What are the questions? Well, his foundation. He's only been in 1 graded stakes race, and that is the Santa Anita Derby. And his jockey said that he was like a baby in that race. He was losing focus. So if he gets into these big field sizes, because he's not tested in the big field sizes, how is he going to do? Now it's your turn. Drop me a comment below. Who do you like in Kentucky Derby 151? Hit like, hit subscribe. Don't miss out on any of my coverage. We have Triple Crown, we have Saratoga, and then we're going to do this all again. I wish you all the best luck in the world. Tell me how'd you do. I want to know if you sashayed away with your money. Until next time, cheers.